Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Podcast. I got my boy here, Max Artsis, currently a strength and conditioning coach and brand consultant. But if you know anything about his journey, he's been to quite a few places you might have heard of, such as Tonal, Nike, and beyond. So also IMDb for those that I just learned that one. So
no matter how badly I want to bury part of my past, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, dude, I just learned that today. So
yeah,
why don't I just start there? Well, so like I also didn't realize I don't know anything about your upbringing, so I did some research today. But
yeah,
I know you have your degree in sorry, I don't even know what it's called. What is it called? What is your degree in?
Theater.
Thank you.
Theater performance.
Yeah, I was like, it was I thought it was like CTVA or something. Theater for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go from, just real quick, is those TV shows that you're on?
Yeah.
You were just on an episode of like 2 different TV shows. Was that like soon after school? Was that before training?
Some of it was right before it, and then when I was up in Portland, I was actually living my best life. I would be at Nike training professional athletes during the day, and then I would do theater at night.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn, doing both.
That was my favorite time for sure.
Damn. Okay. Well, let's get into that. But let me let's talk about your upbringing. I didn't even know you were an LA kid.
Yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
Born and raised in the Valley.
Okay, Valley kid.
My dad was a therapist and a bodybuilder.
Whoa.
He would tell me stories about training with Arnold and
No way.
all that. Would wake me up early in the mornings, and I would be resentful for it because I'd be a little kid that just wanted to, play GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And joke's on me now, of course, because I live in the gym.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow. Wait, where'd you go to high school?
Calabasas.
Calabasas. Okay, Calabasas High School. Cool. I was just talking to the head coach about working with their hoops team.
They're killing it right now.
Yeah. No, they're cool. They have a great weight room.
They do.
I walk in, it looks like a collegiate space. I'm like,
yeah.
This is
yeah.
sick.
The whole facility, they're all killing it.
Yeah.
Football too.
Yeah, that's dope. All right, so you go to high school, Calabasas. Where'd you go to college?
University of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Go blue, baby.
Oh my God. Okay, Michigan guy.
Yeah.
All right, dope. And then okay, how was it? How was the transition lifestyle wise?
It was awesome. I've always wanted to get out of LA, so I
Okay.
loved the fact that I could be in a college town. Ann Arbor is one of the coolest places in the world. The Big House is one of the greatest places in the world inside of Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
For me, it was really important to be able to continue doing the theater stuff, but also be around sports. So I was the kid in high school that would go from football practice, take off my pads, and then go into the theater from there.
Sick.
So it was really important for me to have the dichotomy of the two.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to commit to though,
It
as well,
is.
right? Yeah. Damn, that's amazing. So how was that? Like, I'm assuming you stopped. I'm just assuming. Did you stop playing football at some point? Like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like any kid, you think you're going to go to the league, and
Right.
then, you stop growing.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you realize, okay, maybe we'll be the 7-on-7 intramural
Yeah.
champ.
When did that happen? Like what year?
When what?
You weren't playing. So you were already doing IMs at Michigan.
Oh yeah,
Okay, cool. All right. So then you played football throughout the whole thing. Like theater didn't take up too much of your time.
oh I only played football in high school.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
didn't play at University of Michigan.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I wish, bro.
I was like, you're not that big. No offense.
I
but
wish, man. No, just in high school.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you're just playing like rec, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just mean it was important for me to have a school that had a deep history in sport.
Got it. That's dope.
Yeah.
I feel that. Okay. All right. What about your parents? Who are they? What do they do?
My mom lives in Park City.
Okay.
My dad lives in Westlake Village.
Okay.
So
And your dad was a bodybuilder.
bodybuilder, therapist. My mom was a teacher.
Wow.
My sister lives in Orange County. She's a SoulCycle instructor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's a lot of coaching going on.
A lot of coaching going on.
A lot of educating going on.
Yeah. Family of educators, for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. That's dope. Do you think that really rubbed off on you? Your parents really rubbed off on you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love teaching. Teaching is one
Yeah.
of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
But then also on the same note, there'd be a lot of times where they'd be like, so what does that actually mean? Like from a therapist perspective, like I know you said that, so what does that actually mean? And I'm like, I'm a very straightforward guy.
Yeah.
So what you see is what you get. So a lot of times it would just be like, it means nothing more than what I just said it was.
Yeah.
So it gets exhausting after a little bit of while. But
Right.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself doing that to other people now?
In what way?
Like Just kind of trying to peel layers when you speak to people.
Yeah, I ask a lot of questions. I like the understanding what makes people tick and what and how they're communicating their body language, eye contact, all that stuff's very fascinating to me.
Dope. All right. Back to the TV days.
Yeah.
Well, what was that like? What was it like being in that world on the TV set? Obviously, you got some cool cast members.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Acting was a thing that I did because I was good at it. I never like grew up being like I need to be famous and do all that stuff. It was just an outlet for me. I'm generally a much more introverted human being.
Yeah.
And that was an outlet for me, specifically like the live theater piece of the puzzle. Because it was the closest to high level sport that I had ever experienced, from like that nerves, like those jitters and those nerves that you love before, a big game.
Yeah.
You would get that every single night when you were doing a show. And then it also gave you permission to explore yourself from like a personality and emotional perspective. I think a lot of times we talk about mental health now more than we ever have.
For sure.
I don't think I was ever more balanced when I was given permission to explore laughing, crying, being angry, and developing relationships every single night on stage. So it was really interesting for me to have a physical outlet during the day when I was playing sports or in the gym, and then to have this incredible emotional and intellectual outlet at night.
That's amazing. That's dope. I have never even thought of it like that. Like acting is could be like very therapeutic.
Wildly.
Because you have to explore emotions. You have to have the sympathy, the empathy for the character, for the situation. Right.
Teaches you to listen more, truly listen to what people are saying. And I think it also makes it so I can, it's just adding life experience. Like I can feel like I can speak in any room that I walk into.
Yeah.
That I can be a bit of a chameleon and have conversation with, when I was training, right? Like there'd be days where I would have a 40-year-old female executive and then an 18-year-old female Olympic snowboarder and then 20 G League NBA guys.
Right.
And so how do you change your body language, your communication style?
Right.
How do you change who you are while staying true to who you are? Hour after hour after hour. I don't think I'm able to do that on the level that I am if I didn't have those days behind me.
That's dope. That makes a lot of sense. For sure. Okay. What are some highlights being on the theater side or the TV side? Anything that like sticks out? I don't know.
Nominated for Portland's Best Actor. That was pretty cool.
You were?
Yeah, it's whatever. It's boring, but it's my life,
What?
That was pretty cool to be able to do that while I was at Nike and training all the the athletes and executives during the day, and to live my double life there was a lot of fun.
It is a double life.
I view it honestly, especially at that point in my life, no different than anyone that has hobbies.
Yeah.
Right? Like you go home and crochet or play piano or whatever it is that you do as your hobby.
Right.
At that point I just viewed it as my outlet.
Damn. All right. So how did you get into coaching? If you were before...
I've always been into sport, so that was easy for me. And then when I graduated, I had gotten a job at Equinox in West LA.
Okay. Which one? Which location?
The West LA location, the
big
mothership,
one.
Mothership.
The Sepulveda, okay.
Yeah, and I very quickly learned that I could excel, especially in the sales side of the coin. There's 60 trainers there, so if you don't know how to sell, if you don't know how to market yourself, no one cares how good of a trainer you are.
Yeah.
So in addition to training, I started teaching sales and marketing courses to the surrounding Equinox area.
Whoa.
Which was a blast for me. Just helping people be comfortable in their skin and listening to conversations with potential clients and understanding when they're opening the door. 9 times out of 10 as a salesperson, if you're talking to somebody, they're going to give you a reason to sell them. You just have to be listening rather than going off of your script in your head.
Totally. I remember I only worked for Equinox for like 2 weeks until I quit, but like I think we did one of those, like one of those sales meetings, if you will. It was helpful, but it's about like creating like the emotional tie, I think, is what they were like really.
It's visceral,
right?
Like I remember there was one time I talked to someone that used to snowboard a lot. And I'm like, you know, later on that ended up becoming my Olympic niche. But he said to me, I really want to snowboard a whole lot more. And I was like, okay, well, why is that important to you? And he's like, well, I just had my kid, a little bit younger, and I want to get back out there. And I was like, cool, that's awesome. Why is that important to you? He's like, well, I want to be good enough so that way when my kid is of age, I can teach them like really how to do what I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great. Why is that important to you? And he's like, well, I just feel like it'll give us a good relationship between the two of us. I was like, so are you telling me that you think that you getting in shape now is going to ultimately help you become a better father? And he was like, yeah, I guess that's what I'm telling you. Dude never missed a session. Not once. Because we tied this emotional connection. I wasn't baiting him or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was just helping him get to what his reason is. Because motivation is very fleeting. You're going to wake up tomorrow, dehydrated a little bit, see a couple abs, and you're going to be like, damn, I'm killing it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you have to have a deeper why
Yeah.
when you're doing it.
Yeah. No, it's great. Just simply just peel the layers away. You know what I'm saying?
Help them find it for themselves.
Yeah. That's great. So you started off, that's where you started, Equinox?
Yeah, I think Equinox is an incredible place for people to like start.
To start, I agree.
Right? Like there's such an, Geraldine Coopersmith was the head of education at the time. So there was like a really great, robust educational platform that was there where you were learning, you know, musculoskeletal pathologies, you were learning biomechanics, you were learning all these things that were helping you grow.
Yeah.
And then it was time for me to leave.
Yeah.
But for a starting trainer, I think it's one of the best places anyone could be.
I agree. For sure. So where'd you go after, or how long were you there for?
3.5 years.
Okay. Nice.
So I was there for a minute.
Yeah.
And then from there was Nike headquarters.
Oh, wow.
Up in Oregon.
Dope.
Yeah.
How'd you get connected with Nike at the time?
Nike was a wild one. So I went up to visit one of my best friends who worked in soccer digital at the time.
Okay.
And I went up and he went into a meeting. And while he was in the meeting, I started talking to one of the trainers that was in the gym because I went to go work out. And that trainer introduced me to another trainer, introduced me to the hiring manager. And by the end of the day, we basically had a plan in place for me to move a month later and take a job.
Damn, you smashed it.
Yeah. You know, it just kind of was one of those like kismet moments.
Yeah.
That I look back and I just said, let's do it. Let's jump.
Wow.
So I would always wonder, you know, what if I didn't do that?
Yeah. No, of course. That's amazing.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. That's dope. That's why I always tell myself when I'm in a situation where I feel that I should go talk to whatever that person, definitely just go do it and just introduce yourself and see what they got. See what
I
they
would
got
always
going on.
rather live a life of, oh, well, than what if,
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that.
you know?
Save that shit. That's dope.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then what if? I like that. That's dope as fuck. All right. So you're at Nike for how long? You were running.
I was at Nike for almost 8 years.
Okay.
So I was there for a minute.
Okay. So Nike, you were doing training, but you were also doing, I don't know what the word is, but you were essentially like rating certifications? Or?
No. So like from the very beginning, I decided to parallel path my career. Right. I wanted to make sure that, yes, while I was still advancing my training career, I also wanted to advance my knowledge of strategy, of brand marketing, of consumer insights, start to be able to speak the brand lingo. What is customer acquisition cost? What is return on investment? What are all these things? That way I can be intelligent as I move forward with my career.
Yeah.
So on one side of the coin, I would be training a bunch of our executives and then some of our athletes as well. And then in the afternoons, usually I would be sitting in from a brand perspective and be kind of the brand liaison between the voice of the trainer and our brand teams. And then later on in my Nike career, I was the lead for our master trainer network. So I helped manage and set the strategy for all of our master trainers.
Got it. Cool. What was that like doing the master trainer program?
It was great. It was a blast. It was an opportunity for me to be able to personally build a lot of relationships. You know, the longer you're in this, the more you realize this whole business and any business is about relationships.
Totally.
And then it was also an opportunity for me to be able to reward trainers that I thought were absolutely killing it, but maybe would be overlooked from a brand perspective because they didn't have the following or something like that. But I was like, damn, this is a really, really good trainer.
Right.
And then it was a great learning experience for me. right? At a company like Nike, at the end of the day, it is about sales and it is about shoe sales. And so there are a lot of times that I wanted to do something from a training perspective that didn't fiscally make sense.
Right.
So it was a really great learning opportunity for me to come down off my training high horse and understand from a business perspective why it is we do some of the things that we do.
Right.
And then helped me make smarter decisions, especially when I moved on to Tonal.
Yeah. That's great that you phrase it like that and that you think of it like that. Because another way to think of it is it's like being in any organization or any institution where there's a lot of red tape, where you can't do the things you want to do just because of the red tape, you know?
And a lot of times your personal goals for whatever your job is or for whatever your silo is doesn't meet with the priorities of the company at that time.
Right.
And so as a purist of training, when I'm like, yeah, that's a great shoe, but is it the best shoe for lateral stability? No.
Right.
But then you go back to what the consumer insights are telling you and where sales are leading and what our priorities are. And there has to be give and take on their side, and there has to be give and take on my side.
Right.
And it's the same with programming, right? I may want to program a straight bar deadlift,
right,
but my client may hate it and want to do a trap bar deadlift.
Right.
And so it's me going, okay, I'm going to give you that one because a little bit of progress is better than no progress.
Right. Exactly.
So it's really figuring out where are the hills that you want to die on and where can you just be smarter and build relationships and allies. And say, you know, I see that that's important to you.
Right.
Let's go in that direction. But I'm going to save my important one for next time.
Yeah. Just in your back pocket.
Because if you die on a hill for everything, you die on a hill for nothing.
Right. Damn, all these quotes. Who are you? It's great.
I'm showing up inspired.
Yeah. I'm about to make bumper stickers after this.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Damn, that's great. Okay. So Nike seems like an incredible learning experience.
It was.
Yeah. And then you moved on to Tonal.
Yeah. So
tell me about Tonal.
In 2019, I had been training Chloe for like a year and a half, 2 years at that point. She broke her fibula, so I had to be down in LA rehabbing her quite a bit. I'd started doing NFL off season. I had a few NBA Drew League guys. So I felt confident that if I made the leap on my own, I would be successful. Obviously, that was a really difficult decision. Like Max Artsis at Nike.com had a lot of pull on me. And I associated my identity with the brand.
Totally.
We grow up with this brand that had a visceral attachment.
100%.
Does it make sense for me to pay $200 for a pair of J's?
Right.
No. But I have a visceral attachment to them.
Right.
So, you know, when you land what you think is your dream job, you have a visceral attachment to it. It makes sense. But at a certain point, you gotta jump and hope the net appears.
Right.
So I did that. And then at the beginning of 2020, I had gotten a few of my athletes a Tonal because the pandemic was about to start. And I was like, this is a dope piece of hardware. Like, this is wild. And I feel like we complain a lot about what we wish technology could look like.
Right.
What we wish brands would do.
Yeah.
And I figured this was my opportunity to be a part of the solution rather than being someone that complained about it. So I said, how can I get on the inside of this and help this change sport? So when I started at Tonal, my first role was to lead all coach education and career mapping. So really, we were such a lean team that I was writing programs. I was recruiting new trainers, really doing a lot, throwing a lot of events summits for educational summits for our coaches.
Yeah.
And then as we started to build out a more robust company, the opportunity for me to take over sport performance and what the strategy was for our sport performance became available. And so that's kind of what I did for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Was really figure out how can we infiltrate sport on a deeper level, right? If we do a commercial with LeBron, that's amazing. But does that mean that we're authentic to basketball?
Right.
Not necessarily. So how can we get into the overtimes? How can we get into the high schools? How can we get into the hands of guys like Mike G?
Right.
And really start to push the boundaries of what at-home training could look like.
Right.
Because not everyone had access to a beautiful facility.
Right.
And so for me, it was a no-brainer.
That's amazing. All right. On the coach education side, what besides the X's and O's, like what do you enjoy teaching, and what do you value teaching to young coaches?
It's a great question. I think figuring out who you are as a coach.
Nice.
We talked about this before this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of coaches that I have very close relationships with that I wish I was as smart as.
Right.
Right? Like, I have some conversations with guys and I'm like, damn, do I even belong in this room?
Yeah.
And then I watch them coach and I watch myself coach and I'm like, damn, I'm a really good coach though. So it took a while for me to feel confident in my skin of knowing what kind of coach I am. What am I passionate about? After I go home, what is it that I want to read about? Some guys go home and want to read about VBT. They want to read about force profiling. I want to read about game theory. I want to read about behavioral modifications and, you know, are you motivated by the thrill of success or the fear of failure? And how can I change my communication styles based on what you care about?
Right.
Because the reason I got into this business is people. It's not because of data.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I love coaches seeing is understanding who you are and how that is your secret sauce, right? Brandon Collinsworth used to say this all the time. He's like, you are one of one. There will never be another one of you.
Right.
And that's something that people really need to hone in on. And then on top of that, I think the business side, like how to be a better professional.
Yeah.
Right. Because I have been on the corporate side of things. In addition to being a strength and conditioning coach, I think a lot of trainers are knuckleheads, and they need to learn how to run a tight ship and a better business.
Yeah, totally. I'm learning that right now. It's been a great journey.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was just about trying to be the best coach possible.
Yeah.
All the X's and O's, all the books, all the seminars, all the certifications, whatever it took to be fully equipped, to have all these tools, readily available for whoever's in front of me, to help them get to where they need to go.
Yep.
No, that's amazing. You mentioned Brandon Collinsworth. He's the yoga instructor, right, at Nike? So I'm not a yoga person.
Yeah.
But I went to a Nike event. This is like years ago. I went to a Nike event. And he might be the only yoga instructor ever to like mentally take me to a different place.
That's awesome.
Like I've only done like, let's just say 5 yoga classes ever.
Yeah.
Is easily my best one. Is like nothing even compares to like what he was able to do for my mental space. Like forget all the stretches, like whatever, but like just, I don't know how he transported me to a different place, but he did. And I'll never forget it.
That's amazing.
So shout out to Brandon.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to like, I don't know. I don't even know where he is or where he operates or what he does, but like if he's ever doing another class, I'm down.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's sick. You just said his name and it just took me there.
Yeah.
Okay. So tonal. Speaking of tonal, so like Josh, Josh obviously. You worked with him.
Yeah, I brought Josh into the fold.
Right. I figured that was the case. I remember that. Josh was like on the programming side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Were you also on the programming side of things?
Only for sport.
Okay.
I mean, Josh, I've never seen someone more excited to look at a spreadsheet in my entire life. And I am the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why I think Josh and I work really well together. Like,
yeah.
He'll challenge me to think certain ways, and then sometimes I'll be like, yeah, but I think you need to look at it from this perspective as well. And so we challenge each other in different ways, which is great.
Yeah.
And he's someone who's so humble about like, if you say something, he's like, damn, I never thought of it that way. Which I love working with people like that.
Totally.
And so he crushed it on all like the general population, all those programming along with Jenna. And then for me, it was, I helped us launch our golf programming with Michelle Wee. So I wrote all of our golf programs. It was just, I think, easier and cleaner to have me write all the sport performance stuff. Not that they couldn't. It was just there's so much capacity that people have.
Totally. So. Actually, you just reminded me. I didn't ask this earlier. So you were for Nike, right? You were getting paid to like go to all these certification classes.
Yeah.
Give me like,
Oh man.
give me like, I don't know, top 1 up to 3 of your favorite certifications.
So he doesn't do it anymore. I think he's gonna bring it back. So maybe this is the moment to push him over the edge.
Okay.
Bobby Stroop.
Oh, okay.
Who is Patrick Mahomes' trainer since he was like 14. Trevor Story, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Founded APEC
Right.
down in Tyler, Texas.
Right.
His certification is the greatest thing I've ever taken, by far.
Wow.
I took it 3 times.
Wow.
3 times. There was that much to take out of it.
Wow.
Bobby is just such a eclectic human being with a wealth of knowledge. He's like this wizard. And I really resonated with and respected so much of what he had to do and say. And it ended up being the glue of all of the other knowledge that I had. I think at that point in time, I had a lot of knowledge, but I didn't have a system. So his way of thinking helped me build a bridge between all of the knowledge that I had to create one cohesive system. And then the other thing that I think was invaluable for me was taking the soft tissue course from Gray Institute.
Oh, okay.
With Lenny Parasino.
Okay.
Lenny's a wizard with his hands too.
Right.
With the clippers. I just think I wasn't out to take anybody's job by, learning how to do manual therapy.
Sure.
But it helped me become a better coach because I think differently now.
Right.
Like I think about the human body completely differently than before I understood soft tissue work.
Right.
So I think those were probably 2 of the things that really, really were impactful for me. And then, of course, like everyone says, it's shadowing.
Yeah.
Right? Like get the necessary for certifications you need to get, and then forget about certifications and go shadow whoever the heck it is that you want to emulate.
Right. Totally. Like get your reps in, you know what I'm saying? Observe whoever it is that you want to emulate, you know what I'm saying? And
because at best, each
things.
certification is going to be maybe like one nugget of your whole system.
Right.
Right? So it's like, could I spend $1,200 learning a new certification about a tool that I might use once or twice? Or should I spend that $1,200 spending a week with somebody,
totally,
that I really respect,
right?
And building relationships and learning how they do it if they're gracious enough to show you what they do.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I spent my early years in the like right out of school. I worked for free for like the first 3 years of my career.
Yeah,
and I did just that. I would just reach out to people. Hey, can I come clean? Like, can I literally just come watch and clean the place up and all that sort of stuff. Like Mike Robertson, shout out to Mike Robertson. He's like someone I followed since I was just starting in the game. He's had his physical preparation podcast forever. He's got he's got his system. He's got his, everything. He's like one of those VHS guys, And anyway, so when I used to live in Indy, when I worked for the Pacers, when the guys would go out of town, I wouldn't travel with the team.
Yeah.
And when I had nothing to do, like the guys that stayed behind when they were taken care of or whatever it was, I would just go and hang out with Mike and his team and shadow and just help clean up and whatever they allowed me to do, I did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, he was super great. Beyond others, obviously there was some great coaches in LA too when I was here, and then also overseas when I used to live overseas, spending time with them.
I just think it's invaluable, right? Because the more certifications you take, the more you understand how to program when everything goes perfectly. Right. But everything ever goes perfectly.
No. And even then,
when the best coaches in the world are the ones who are best at adapting.
Totally.
When you walk in and go, how you feeling today?
Right.
Well, I had 6 martinis last night, so here's what we got. Cool. Yeah. So we're going to take this down because your nervous system's here. We're going to change your programming to this. Like watching masters at what they do be able to really shift and adjust on the fly is so much more valuable than understanding how to program when all conditions are perfect, because all conditions are never perfect for people.
Yeah. No, totally. That's well said. All right. Well, going into this, who are like, you can give me as many as you want. I'll just throw a number up to 3
of
your like biggest influences. Coach on the coaching side.
So definitely Bobby.
Okay.
First and foremost. One of my favorite people to watch him think is Henry Barrera.
I don't know that name. Okay.
So Henry is a strength coach at Alabama.
Oh, okay.
And he's an incredible artist. So if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see snapshots of his notepad when he takes notes.
Okay.
And everything is visual. So he like draws the whole body, or he'll draw an athlete, and it's just like,
oh, wow,
the way his brain moves and thinks is really, really fascinating to me, because it's very different from a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he's just genuinely a wonderful human being, so that also helps.
Yeah.
So I think I love watching him think. Ramsey is up there.
Yeah.
I love what he's doing. He's absolutely killing it, and he's making the most out of every situation he's got.
Yeah.
Another one, just like, I think it's just really easy to watch people that are in this for the right reasons, that are service oriented, that are really, really just good human beings.
Right.
Are kind of killing it. Meg Strong, Megan Young. Sorry.
Yeah. Megan Young. Yeah.
She's brilliant. She's up in Seattle with the Sounders.
That's right.
She's brilliant if you talk to her, and I love breaking down how people think. I think that to me is like the most fascinating piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I've chatted with her once. She was really nice. I think I just chatted with her. She had just finished a presentation, so I just wanted to introduce myself, and I think we had a mutual connection that we spoke about, and that was kind of it. But yeah, she seems great. Like everyone, I've heard only great things about her. So
yeah, lovely human.
That's awesome. All right, dope, man. All right, I want to talk about this. I read, I don't know if it's an article that you wrote or if it's an article that it's the Vital Proteins collab that you did, essentially talking about mindset training.
Okay.
So to me, it sounds vague. So if you can break down what you mean by, or like what mindset training is to you, and then how'd you get into it?
Yeah. Well, I think there's so many different facets to it, right? Like, one is visualizations. I'm really big on visualizations. Mm-hmm. Hippocampus right next to the amygdala. One's responsible for memory. One's responsible for emotion. And I think it was 2017 when studies like really started to surface that you can train your subconscious for decision making. So let's just say you're a quarterback and you're dropping back and you see a defensive end coming off the corner of your blind side, and you absolutely get whacked, and you throw a interception.
Yeah.
And we go through hours and hours and hours of intense and thoughtful visualization, right? Smell what the grass feels like. Remember what it feels to be like in that space. To an extent, you can train your body to make a different subconscious decision the next time you're in that position, because your memory is going to be tied to your emotion in a different way, allowing you to eliciting you to make a different subconscious decision.
Okay.
So I think that stuff's wildly fascinating. When I was doing rehab with Chloe on her fibula, a lot of times we could only work on one leg. So after that set, I would have her sit down and visualize doing the exercise on the opposite leg. Now, I know there are strength and power carryovers when you work on one side to the other side.
Right.
But I am vehemently adamant that we were able to compound those effects through visualization. So I think that stuff is just wildly fascinating, and I think we're only getting like scratching the surface of it.
I guess I have two questions. First, are there any? Never mind. I'll just go with the first one. Could you give me an example? Because to me, mindset training sounds like, okay, close your eyes and visualize this,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure it's not that simple.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm sure it's not as simple as just like you're telling me, hey, Nate, close your eyes, and I want you to visualize this atmosphere, this situation, and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Unless.
So when I originally got into it, I actually got into it with a company called NeuroCore Pro.
Okay.
So they came up to Nike and they brought us their equipment. Basically they put dry EEG leads on your head, and you would watch a DVD, and they would also put a strap around your stomach. And when your dynamic focus shifted, the DVD would stop. And when you would come back into dynamic focus, looking at your low beta ratios, your high theta ratios, all that stuff, the DVD would start again. Wow. If your breathing got off, the screen would get smaller. As your breathing returned back to normal, the screen got bigger. So there was tactile external feedback of, am I staying in dynamic focus? Likewise, I've definitely heard of NBA teams doing free throw shooting. And the dry EEG lead is around the head. Music is playing in the stadium. You shoot your free throws. If you lose focus, music stops. You can't shoot anymore. So you have to recenter. So it's almost like, a rat to cheese. A little bit, right?
Totally.
So it's giving you external feedback on, am I staying in this dynamic focus? And now we're able to quantify it, right? Some of the best athletes in the world, very, very low beta ratios. So now you can start to quantify, okay, what's my low beta ratio when I'm doing meditation or whatever it is with the dry EEG lead? Okay, can I train that to get lower?
Okay, can you break that down? Because this is something I know nothing about.
Really wild.
Yeah. So you quantify it by keeping track of beta waves.
high theta, low beta, and basically what they're doing is showing you on your brain. Over here is dynamic focus. Over here is, let's say, ADHD or something like that. And then they've able to quantify exactly where in the spectrum some of the best athletes in the world are.
Got it. Is there a number that represents that, or is there a
metric? For low beta, I remember it being under 1.0.
Got it.
I don't remember the other ones because this is not like, I am not an expert in the science of it. I was able to translate that into the applied side of the coin.
Yeah.
But I do remember it being under 1.0 because I am under 1.0.
Oh,
so I was. So I don't want to say Kobe and I were the same, but we were pretty much the same.
Same animal, different beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really fascinating stuff.
So, but when you did it, you didn't have the equipment. You just.
I did at Nike.
Oh, you did at Nike.
Yeah.
But when you in your private practice with Chloe, for example, this was just you taking the applied stuff, and you not having any equipment, right?
Right. I wasn't able to quantify it a lot of times.
Okay.
But placebo effect is a very real thing.
Totally.
Right? So I think a lot of it is also understanding where your athletes are at from a mental perspective, and working with them to make them feel more comfortable in their skin. And if they believe that it's working, it's working.
Totally. How were you able to, or were you at all able to get feedback in in the sessions, let's say in your private practice outside of Nike?
Mm-hmm.
We're able to be okay, this is working, or this is not working, or
I think you just notice it in the way that they carry themselves and their confidence from a day-to-day perspective. Obviously, you can be really specific, hyper specific, but the one thing that was really awesome about my relationship with all the snowboarders that I worked with is I suck at snowboarding. So I never attempted to tell them how to do their job because I don't know their job.
Right.
I was just trying to make them a better athlete and a more confident athlete. So for me, I was able to take a little bit more liberty because I wasn't trying to teach them the mechanics of shooting a free throw or, how to stand over a 3-foot putt and how to do that. It was more about building them up as a human being and hoping that would translate into their sport.
Yeah, totally. That's cool. I don't know why, but randomly, I don't think it's that random. When you said some of the best athletes have low beta waves, I was like, I'm sure Steph Curry's one of those guys.
Totally. You just get in a flow state, right? Where you just, you're gone.
Yeah. He has to be. I mean, the way.
All the best shooters in the world, definitely, they have that flow state where it's just I don't know what it is, but I am just absolutely locked in.
Yeah.
And for me, it's take a golfer, right? You're standing over a 5-foot putt worth $10 million. If you can't enter some variation of a flow state, usually through your breathing, the odds of you missing that putt have to be pretty high, I would imagine. Right? I have never experienced that kind of stress.
Right.
But I can imagine that if I didn't have low beta ratios and I hadn't trained myself to figure out how to get into some variation of a flow state, I'm probably in a pretty precarious position.
Definitely. I mean, so also if you're Steph Curry, someone who gets paid to play basketball, and then you step on a golf course and you.
Well, that guy can do anything. So
yeah,
really,
that's what I'm saying. You hit an eagle, you hit like a couple eagles and a hole in one, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it
Who is
doesn't
this guy?
matter who that guy, what he plays.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. It looks like he does, like some variation of mindset training. I'm sure he does.
I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know his actual training protocol.
Yeah. Okay. For someone who's listening to this, just because again, I don't know how to. This is new to me. It's fascinating. For someone who is interested by this, is there a resource they could look into for mindset training? Something they can do on their own,
That's a
or
good question? I think any of those meditation apps, like for first starting, right, like the Headspaces of the world and the Calms of the world. I think just getting yourself in more centered position and connected to your breath, I think is the best place for people to start.
Yeah. Cool. I might have to try it out. I for sure have an ADHD brain. Growing up, I was told I have ADHD. I was told I was slower than all the other kids, whatever, all that sort of stuff. But I have a hard time with like focus and memory.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I've always been like recommended to do. I've never looked into it, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. I feel like if I was like you, as you were talking about the like the device with the DVD,
Mm-hmm.
the DVD, like the DVD would stop as soon as you lose focus. I instantly thought I wouldn't be able to like watch through the whole whatever the like the time is on the DVD. I wouldn't be able to finish.
Perfection, though, right?
Yeah.
Like as long as you're getting a little up and to the right, as long as we're getting in the right direction.
That's dope.
I think having that external feedback is so
cool. For sure. It's super, super helpful. And also it would drive someone like me I'm driven by numbers. I'm driven by data. Like I want to be able to quantify what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would help me a lot.
And that's how a lot of it honestly changes, right? Like maybe I wouldn't go through visualization exercises with you because you just told me that you're driven by data.
Right.
So me doing the woo-woo stuff over here might not work on you.
Right.
So I think it's, having different tools in the tool belt rather than using a hammer when I need a screwdriver.
Right. Exactly. Totally, man. All right. Let's have some fun with this. All right. So we're going to go into the lightning round here. I got 5 questions for you. I'm just going to ask random ones. And then answers can be as long or as short, as you want them to be.
Okay.
All right. You got... let's go with something simple to start. All right. Give me 5 artists. Your top 5 favorite artists right now. Or of all time. But like...
Damn, I'm like all over the map.
That's fine.
I'm so all over the map. I'm big into Anderson .Paak.
Oh, nice.
Like Anderson .Paak stuff a lot.
He's got to release some new music. But yes.
Yeah, I like that funk vibe. And then like I'll go on the completely other side of the spectrum and like Chris Stapleton.
Okay.
Right?
Some country.
Voice
okay.
of an absolute. I don't even like country. It's just he has a voice of an angel. An absolute angel. Album wise, I really was a big fan of Nipsey's last one and Victory Lap.
It's a great one.
So it's like you can see like I'll bounce kind of everywhere.
Nice.
Dua Lipa? I don't know. I'll get in there.
Dua Lipa?
Sure. Not a big Swiftie. It's not a big thing for me.
Yeah, me either.
It doesn't seem like she's hurting for fans though, so she'll be okay.
Yeah, she'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got one more for me?
John Legend.
Oh, okay. You are all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place.
I like that. That's cool. You're diverse.
Yeah.
All right. You got 5. You have a reservation for happy hour at whatever bar you want, whatever restaurant you want.
Oh, okay.
And you get 5 people to sit at your table.
Oh, my
And these
God.
are 5 people that are dead or alive. 5 people that you want to like sit and chat with.
Yeah.
And have a beer with.
Damn. Kobe's number 1.
100%.
My dog is named Kobe. I'm from LA. If you don't say Kobe, you can get out of here.
Agreed.
I think sitting with Elon Musk is a wildly fascinating thing, whether you like him, hate him, or indifferent about him. Like how do you not put him at the table?
Yeah.
And have a conversation with him. Am I keeping it like it's anyone ever?
Whatever. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I hate this question. My mind goes just everywhere.
Dude, I asked this to Josh and he said, Marcus Aurelius. And I was like, okay. He went way back.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really fascinating perspective to
Yeah.
bring to the table. Dave Chappelle.
Yes. I was like, you need a funny guy.
Funny, but also like, he's brilliant.
No, super
He is
insightful.
brilliant.
100%.
And the way that he's able to tell comedy through the lens of his intellect is
His storytelling is fantastic.
pretty phenomenal.
All right, table for 3, for 4.
Yeah,
All
that would
right.
be a table for 4.
Table for 4. All right, cool. That's funny. Okay. All right, if you can relive one day in your career, which day would that be and why?
There's one day when one of my clients from Nike handed me when I left Nike handed me a letter that was 3 pages back and front, handwritten, about how I changed her life.
Wow.
And I did not see it coming. And that like wrecked me in like the greatest way possible.
Right.
So I think that might be it, because that was one of the most fulfilled I had ever felt.
Yeah.
Was when she handed that to me as a thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Super powerful.
She was a college athlete, and after she had graduated, she kind of lost a lot of her self-confidence, because similar to a lot of ex-athletes, you were told what to do your entire life.
Right.
And you have a mission, you have a purpose, you have a vision. And all of a sudden you retire from your sport, and all of that goes away.
Right. Your identity comes into question, and
she was
everything.
like, I trained her for 4 or 5 years, and she was just like, I'm a different person because of training with you 3 times a week, and like, you'll never know what that meant to me. So for me, especially as someone who came into this business because of people that like, I still have the. I definitely still have to have it.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty cool. And then obviously the day I became a Nike Master Trainer, because that was a goal I set for myself. When I stepped on campus, I said, "What do I have to do?" And the guy who was running it at the time told me I had to go back to college and get a different degree. He's like, "You're not going to become one." So I went and got 10 certifications in 2 years. I was like, no one will ever tell me that again.
Right.
And then, it took me a good 4 or 5 years to build up to it. Got the Master Trainer title. And then a year later, I was the lead of the Master Trainer Network. So, like, that for me was a really powerful experience as well. But I think more than anything was that note, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Damn, you just reminded me. I haven't thought about this in a while, but I got a note from one of my former. She graduated high school, went away to college, and when she moved, she handed me a note, and same thing. It like wrecked me in the best way possible. I was just so taken back. I was like, this is.
I think it's also
why you do it.
I like training women more than I like training men. I think they're taught from a very early age to take up little space. And in the gym, I'm like, I'm the opposite. I'm like, take up as much fucking space as you can. Like,
Totally.
Be big, be bold, get strong, do all that stuff.
Right.
And watching a lot of them, like, their change as a human being is like the coolest thing. Because most guys come in cocky as shit and something to prove.
Yeah.
And then most women are never late. They're always on time.
Right.
They do their work. They work really hard in the gym. I loved it.
I agree. I think working with females is way better, not only for the reasons you said, which I agree with, but also, especially female athletes are overlooked. They're constantly overlooked.
So and then you also look at like minimal dose effect is like much more real, right? Because most men like work out from a early age. You're doing something, so it's a lot. You have to put in a lot more work to be able to start to see a lot of those changes.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you have to do in the gym at the very beginning with a lot of female athletes is so minute and small, but the changes are massive.
Right.
And so the area of opportunity is just so much more vast.
Totally. Agreed, yeah. And then, like, secondly is, like you said, I like how you said it. I haven't used the words like the way you said it, like they're taught to be small. I think of it as like they don't even know the power that they wield. They don't know what they're capable of. And once you like help them unlock that, you see a switch go off, and you're like, yes, like this is who you're supposed to be.
It's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Really,
Exactly.
really fun to watch.
Yeah. That's great. All right. That was dope. All right. This is so I can get to know you more. When things get tough for you, where do you draw your strength from? Where do you go?
My dog Kobe.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. When things get tough for me, I think family's obviously incredible. I have such a wonderful support system.
Yeah.
In my family and in my friends. I think it's really important to have, one or two people that you can really, really lean on. And,
Yeah.
like when something goes right for you, they are cheering.
Right.
And when something goes wrong for you, they're devastated.
Right.
And if you find those people, you don't let them go.
Right.
So I think those people, like, really, really being comfortable with reaching out and saying, like, hey, I need some help right now.
Right.
It's the hardest thing in the world for me. I do not ask for help. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It makes me very uncomfortable. But there are a few people who have, like, beaten down my door, like, beaten down my wall, to the point that I feel comfortable, coming to them and confiding in them on that stuff. And then I think it's also, like, important to just be okay in that moment of, like, I'm just going to feel whatever this is.
Right.
Who is it that Tom Hanks, that was like his post went viral and he was like, this too shall pass. Something awesome happens, it's going to pass, and something negative might happen, and then that's going to pass.
Yeah.
And so always understanding that every moment we're in is just a simple moment in time, however long or however short that is. And the people who succeed are the one who just keep going right foot, left foot.
Right.
Just right foot, left foot over and over again. I don't think all the times you need to know where you're going to know what your next step is.
Right.
So it's, if I hit hard times, it's just back to routine, back to habit. Okay,
Right.
what's the next step? And hopefully I'm walking in the right direction.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's super well said. Definitely resonate with that one for sure. All right. Last one for real. Nothing crazy. But so this podcast, I want this to be a space where I could bring people on that can share unique stories, relatable stories, but also give them a platform to shine and flex and, showcase them, highlight them, whoever they are. Is there someone you see that should be next on this show?
Meg. I know we talked about her earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has an incredible, incredible story.
Okay.
And it's one that not a lot of people have, but should be one that gives a lot of people perspective.
Yeah.
And I'll let her tell it if she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you can help make that happen?
I can hit her up for sure.
Yeah.
I can hit her up.
Okay. I mean, they gotta come play. They got 2 LA teams out here, so
Yeah. So you're good there.
Yeah.
I know she's a highly sought after woman, but yeah, she has an incredible story and she tells it very well.
Okay. Dope. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, man. Well, that's it. I appreciate you coming out.
Of
you know
course.
what I'm saying? Thanks for sharing. I know this is like last minute, so we made it happen. And
if any of my ramblings were incoherent, I apologize.
No, super coherent. I feel like I could make like 10 bumper stickers out of all the stuff we heard.
That's good.
I'm gonna make some new T-shirts.
Yeah, the reel should just be slogan after slogan after slogan. That's it. Just hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool. All right, man. Well, again, thanks for coming. And it was fun.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks, guys. If you like the show, hit the like button, and let's try to reach more people with this. All right, peace.